you know, lately I've taken to doing very short rails houses. I suppose my thinking is because the work's sort of accumulative, I'm doing various different jobs. Wait until I've got enough material is not always a good idea. And this particular one is all about Art Deco lights, and which I've got a bit of a passion for. Now, I do live in a 1930s house, and what I don't want to do is turn it into a 1930s house. It needs a nod to the past and bring out the best features of a 1930s house, but with a modern twist to it, if you like. Anyway, these arrived today, advertised as Art Deco style. Well, in actual fact, they're not Art Deco style. They are, in fact, Art Deco. And the reason I can tell they're not modern ones is because of that brass light fitting. That went out a long time ago. These lights are at least 90 years old, and they are flawless. The glass is beautiful in it. That marbled effect in it. Yeah, so they're quite subtle, those. I've got a nice pair of those. The other ones that I bought recently were these, which you've seen in a previous video. These were the ones that came from a cinema somewhere in the Rhyl area. And although I've done a little bit of homework on Art Deco cinemas in North Wales around the Rhyl area, I've drawn a total blank. And I think there's a reason for this. When these cinemas were built, and of course the 1930s was really the beginning of the cinema era, although the silence had been in existence for quite a while, but as a popular form of entertainment, this is of course all before television, the cinema was the place to go. And the reason why you often only see these in pairs and never see another set is because, particularly in this case, because these came out of a cinema, these would almost certainly have been made by a local glassmith in Wales. They'd have thought, well, we need a couple of lights to go up there. Who do we know in the area that can do stained glass? And it could well be the same guy that did the little Welsh chapels. This is all speculative, of course. And these do fit in very well with the stained glass of the door, you must admit. However, I do have a problem with the way the light shines up. It does catch your eyes coming down. It may be that I can put something on this wall that will block that. As I said, I'm not trying to create a 1930s house. I don't necessarily want to go wholly to the past, although that's not a bad thing, is it? But there's something glamorous about the Art Deco period, and to bring it into the new. When I first mooted the idea of painting the walls red, people said, red? I said, yeah, but the red isn't the predominant thing. It's what I put on the red that counts. And that's why I've used films. I think these are all favourite films of mine. That's one of the few musicals I like, and restored in recent years, filmed in Technicolor. And there's something remarkable about Technicolor, because for each colour a reel of film had to go through the camera. It's amazing how it all worked. Look it up. It's well worth looking up how Technicolor came to be. The Wizard of Oz, that was also done in Technicolor. And now these actually look better on the DVD and Blu-ray releases than they ever did in the cinema, because they can get more accuracy with it. So, you know, that's why generally I've kept with this cinema theme going up the stairs. That sort of glam thing. A little older, but actually, believe it or not, 1960s, that machine, the Allwyn. This is a plate off a safe. Years ago, and it's a bit of a confession, isn't it? I was doing security on an old site that was being demolished. But amongst all the things, it was an old hospital, but amongst all the things in the site was the safe, which nobody would have wanted it. It was too heavy. But what I did do was unscrew the plate off it. Apparently people collect these safe plates. I just liked it. I mean, it's solid brass. That'll get screwed up at some point. Yeah, so that certainly goes with that. The other lights I've got are these clamshell ones. I was just actually taking this off to try one of the blue ones up. These go for a fair, but you can easily pay 50, 60 quid a light. I've seen these go for 100. But they're all wall sconces. I've tinted this one so it gives a slightly pink light against the red. That was the thinking of it, and actually they did look pretty stunning until I came across these, but I just haven't resolved this problem of this light going up there. Anyway, yeah, and this is all the thing with the 1930s house. You know, because I mentioned in the last video that I'm putting in storm doors in the front, and sadly what so often happens is people rip out this door, replace it with a composite one, and I, hand on heart, don't think if you've got a house that's got a door as stunning as this, tear it out, double glazing or not. Better to double glaze what's in front of it and retain the original look. I did ponder the idea whether it was possible to reproduce this door in a composite and then put your stained glass back in it, but that wouldn't really help with the double glazing anyway. You'd still be left with the same problem. Messy. Yeah, remarkable, isn't it, when you think that this particular city, Coventry, took a lot of bombing, and I do know other people that have got stained glass windows, including my neighbour. I think he's got a crack in one of his, but there's not one in this one. It's completely intact as it was from new. Look, it even goes right up to the top and into the corners. Yeah, I'm sorry about the flicker. Yeah, so this is really about Art Deco, which fits in with this house. This house was built in 1937, and in Coventry, which in those days was a hive of industry, we produced not just cars, we produced cycles and sewing machines. It was a great engineering hub, and the city developed around the factories in Coventry, and these kind of houses were middle management. If you were a worker in the car factories or any of these others, you lived in the lower parts of Camden, known as Radford, and they're sort of more utilitarian houses. But when they went up, somebody told me this, because most of the houses in Radford in Coventry are a steel structure and then infilled, because when they first went up, people thought they were building factories. And a friend of mine, Tracy G, she lives in one of those. That's a steel structure. In fact, I was actually brought up in one, but this is well, it's not even Upper Camden, it's more Kersley. People in Kersley like to feel they live in Kersley rather than Camden. I don't know why, but they do. But anyway, but these houses would have been built for middle management. And over the last week or so, I've been looking at the garden, going around with the tape measure, because I've got this concrete garage in the garden that just isn't going to work. And I can't think of a way of, there's no real way of extending it, not safely. So the answer is it's got to go. And of course that garage, when this house was built for a very tiny car. Something like an Austin 7, if you were lucky to have one. Or just to keep your bike in, you know, because most people cycled around and cycled into work. So that garage really doesn't cut the mustard for me. So it's going to have to go, and a big concrete hard standing with the long-term aim. And I've looked at digging the footings and getting in a concrete mixer and putting in the footings for a breeze block garage, which is an ugly thing, isn't it, breeze block? But I don't need planning permission for that, but I need to sort of make sure I comply with the regulations in terms of the height of eaves and that sort of stuff, which I will do. But breeze block, as I say, is an ugly thing. So what I've decided to do, on the side of the garage that faces the house, I'm going to make it look a bit like an Italianate villa. You know what I mean? To give it a kind of look, so that when you're sat in the garden, it's not, that garage isn't incongruous. That's really what I'm thinking. Anyway, this is a very short Ralph's House video. So which of these three lights would you pick? Would you have picked the blue one, that one, or would you have picked that one? Decisions. Thumbs up if you like the video, thumbs down if you don't, and I'll see you in the next one. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe.